Good morning, good afternoon, maybe if you're somewhere where it might be a bit later on, but my guess is that this is not going to be the case. Most people are going to be based in Europe today. My name is Belén Gallego, and I'm from the ATA Insights team, from the Remide by ATA Insights team, and I am here because I'm going to be your moderator today. The session that you're attending today is optimizing new models in large-scale storage systems in Italy. I think energy storage right now is unarguably the star in the energy sector. Everyone is looking at developing and building energy storage systems. We're looking at how the revenues work in Italy. So to start, I'd like to invite you all to use the chat and introduce yourselves, your name, your company, and also where you are joining from today. I'm going to let you know that I am joining from Madrid, but I'm not the only one here, and I'm not going to be the main person giving you the speech today. We have two super top speakers who are going to be the ones that tell us about revenue models, and I'd like you to get to know them a little bit better. So, Domenico, please, if you could kindly take your microphone off and introduce yourself shortly so people can get to know you. We cannot hear you. Hang on.
Let me,
Switch to...
I am muted, so now
now.
it should be working. So good morning to everyone. First of all, thanks a lot, Belen, and to ATA team to have invited me. I'm very happy to be on this event today on a very, very hot topic, I would say, for the energy world in Italy, at least for the Italian market. So I'm the founder and CEO of Greenhorse Financial Advisory as part of Greenhorse Advisory group that is a advisory boutique 100% specialized in energy transition, primarily active in Italy, but also in some other countries. So today I'm here and I will try to give you a little bit of insight of what we are seeing in the market, as the team has been very active on best opportunities in Italy over the last 18 months.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Next, I'd like to invite Mauro to introduce himself so that you can get to know him.
Good morning to everyone. My name is Mauro Rivola. I'm in charge of the sales department of Ingeteam. Ingeteam is a Spanish company who produce and manufacture PCU, power conversion unit, for PV application, photovoltaic, I mean, storage and green hydrogen as well, among with other kind of application of the power conversion unit. I'm based in Italy, in the even if the company is Spanish, we are based in Italy, in the branch office of Ingeteam Italy, who is looking after let's say, the east side of the world, including Italy, of course.
Thank you very much, both. So now you know both Domenico and Mauro. And before we go ahead and we start the webinar, I just wanted to let you know that we are organizing this webinar in the context of our event, Remide Storage Italia, as you can see there on the screen. And the event is taking place on the 16th, 17th of April in Rome. And we invite you all to download the brochure and take a look and also come and join us. Both Greenhorse and Ingeteam are going to be present there, and also most of the main sort of like thought leaders and players in this space. So we hope to see you there. This very sort of high level focused event just for energy storage in Italy. So having said that, then I'm going to just let you know how the day today is going to be. We're going to have two presentations. First one by Domenico, then the second one by Mauro. And the great thing is that at the end, hopefully we'll have a little bit of time where we can answer your questions. So here's how you send your questions. Instead of using the chat, which is what you're using to introduce yourself. By the way, I'm loving how many places in Europe people are coming from. It's obviously a lot of Italians, but there is a lot of people from a lot of people from everywhere. So you guys are welcome. And to send your questions, I'd like you to use the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen, okay? And in the Q&A box, you're going to be able to send us questions, and they're so much easier for us to manage and to be able to respond and not lose them in the conversation. So we'd appreciate if you follow that. Let you know also, we are actually recording this meeting, of course. We're live streaming it also on YouTube. So it means that you will get the recordings after the presentation and you will get also access to the materials. So if you need to check it again, if you need to share it with colleagues, it won't be a problem, okay? And without further, I'd like to invite Domenico to share your screen, please, and to begin your presentation so that we can learn a lot more about revenue models. And as you have at the moment working in so many deals, I'm sure your insights are going to be really interesting to most people that are looking at developing projects in Italy.
Give me 1 second, Belen. Let me open the presentation.
Of course,
My
take
computer.
your time. Take your time. And see like Poland, Greece, Germany, Helsinki, and of course a lot of Italy. So hopefully we'll see at least some of you guys in Rome on the 16th, 17th of April for Remat Storage Italia. So have you been able to find it, Domenico? Maybe
yes,
you can
I'm sharing now. Let's hope it works.
Yes, it does. Can you?
Working?
Yes, it is working, but can you make that in a full screen? Because I can see kind of the window around it.
Let me see.
Because if not, I mean, perfect, perfect,
now
perfect.
working.
Yes, perfect.
Excellent.
Yes.
Sorry, guys, for making you waiting. So
No,
should
no
I start,
problem.
Belen?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Perfect. So, as I said, it's a pleasure to be here today. What I would like to do, and a few slides to share with you, not really focusing on the technical aspect of BESS or the financial detail of BESS, but bringing to you and to these events some insight of what we are seeing in the market, what we see or how we see the market or investor looking at BESS opportunities in Italy, because we have been lucky enough to be involved as a financial advisor on several opportunities live in the market and deals that we are discussing with many different investors, given the very high interest that we are seeing for these opportunities at the moment for the Italian market. So that's what I would like to do. So starting point is a little bit boring, because you all know that the starting point is the big growth we're experiencing. We expect to continue experiencing in all Europe, not only in Italy, when it comes to renewable sources. That is the main driver to create such demand and interest for storage. When it comes to the BESS market in Italy, as I was saying, there is very high interest, but today is clearly a greenfield market. We have, and we are seeing a lot of opportunities that are under development. So we are all guessing and try to assess something that will happen in the future. Today, there are few certainties and a lot of uncertainties, and I would like to look at some of them together today in these minutes that we spend together. The market is expected to have tremendous growth. There are some important targets that have been defined already and set by the policymaker, by the regulator, and by in particularly. Some numbers that maybe a lot of you already know, but are important to remember, because those will have an implication when we talk about revenues, about profitability of this project. That is what the market today is really focused on, and try to get answer and certainty and visibility on these points. According to all the documents we saw published by DERNA and other authorities, there is an expectation or an assessment that Italy will need 15 gigawatt or 94 gigawatt hours of new capacity of storage plans to be added to the Italian market. That is an important number. You see the breakdown across the different regions in Italy, and you will see that the majority of this new capacity is expected to be taking place in the south of Italy, in the island and in the south. So there is a very specific geographical need for the way the Italian market and the Italian grid is set today. Of these new capacity, 90% is expected to be needed in terms of utility scale projects. So we're not only talking about big capacity to be added, but the market needs to develop, build and operate large scale projects. And of this capacity, more than 60% are expected to participate or to get supported by the incentive scheme. So today, you will see in the coming slides, we will talk a lot about the new incentive scheme that Terna is defining. It has been already approved by the European Commission. We're waiting for the details, but this is a very key milestone for the market in Italy because, of course, as in many cases for new technologies, to start operating in a market, and as it happened for other renewable sources or technologies before, the incentive support in the initial phase of the growth is very important and what is the market is looking for. Clearly, storage, few points on this slide that are well known by many of you, I know, but it's important to remember the key needs is to balance demand and supplies of energy production. As Italy, and especially the south of Italy, is experiencing or will experience a huge growth in terms of solar capacity and wind. Later on, we will have more and more energy production from intermittent or unstable or unpredictable sources. In Italy, there is no support from base load energy production technologies like nuclear in other countries, and then the needs for storage becomes absolutely strategic and a priority for the country. That's the way the storage solution is the way the system decide to provide the balance to the system, and that's what Italy will exploit, especially when it comes to solar technologies. That is the one that will be the biggest part of the renewable energy production today and in the coming years. As I said, 2023 has been a very important year because after waiting for a while, we have more clarity on what the authorities intend to do. And today we have clarity on what the incentive scheme will look like. The max auction scheme for storage will be the mechanism to provide the incentive to the new initiative. As I said before, Terna indicated clearly the need for utility scale projects with long duration. 8 hours is in many documents referred as the preferred duration for the system, for the storage opportunities, with a very high focus on the south of Italy and in Sicily, where the biggest addition of the solar capacity is expected. The incentive scheme is a big number, has been approved by the European Commission, and we're talking about 18 billion euros almost of revenue that will be provided to the plants that will be assigned the tariff. And this will cover annually, on a monthly basis actually, all the investments and OPEX to build, authorize, build and operate the best project that will be assigned into the auction. It's important also to look at what the documents published by Terna indicated as favorable solution, I mean in the long duration, because we always have to keep in mind that from Terna point of view, from the system point of view, the key priority is securing and supporting the balance and the functioning of the system. Clearly, the profitability of the projects is not a key priority for the authorities that it should be, even if a balancing is trying to be achieved. At the moment, we are discussing in the market with investor and with developer two different business models. The two extreme, then hybrid sources or hybrid forms probably will be created. But at the moment, we are discussing the two extremes. On one side, a fully regulated plant, a fully regulated business plan. As I said, the typical duration is the longer one, 8 hours is the average duration that the market is considering, where the majority of the revenue will be provided by the incentives. And we will talk about numbers later on, but we're talking that for fully regulated projects, probably the incentive will cover 90-95% of the revenue. So it's basically going to be a full incentive system. On the opposite, or on the contrary, We call it partially merchant because even if they will not be working or operating under the incentive scheme, so they will be capturing revenue streams from mainly arbitrage in the market or ancillary revenues. We expect, or this is the discussion the market is having, to what extent this fully merchant business plan of projects will be affected by the rest of the market that will operate under Terna scheme. And this is a question that is critical today and makes defining the profitability of these plans a challenging exercise for financial advisors and for investors. When it comes to I will not go into the details of all the steps from a regulatory point of view, but I think it's important two aspects. One, that there have been a lot already of clarity from a regulatory point of view. Terna in this year, in 2023, published 2 consultation documents. The consultation period is over. The European Union approved the max incentive scheme. So that's now is reality. Until a few months ago, the market was still waiting for reassurance that this was going to happen soon. And now Terna will have to submit to the ministry the scheme and wait for the formal approval to a ministerial decree. This is something that we are expecting soon at the beginning of 2024, and this is important because hopefully will provide the last clarity to the market on how this scheme will technically work and will be applied. So we are still missing a few elements to be able to really model and estimate what the revenue stream will be. The mechanism is a competitive auction, as it happened in other technologies before. So there will be a tariff assigned to the plants in exchange on making the capacity of the project available to the system and used by third parties. This is also an important aspect, and is a key differentiating versus the merchant business model, because project that will apply for the incentive and will be assigned the incentive basically will be made available by the owner to the grid operator rather than to third parties, rather than operating the plant itself. Terna indicated also that the first auctions will take place soon. So in the range of the next 12-18 months, we hope that the first auctions will take place this year already, toward the end of this year. Is important because that will be the first time when the market will start really having a real sense of what the incentives will be. Today we are still a little bit guessing what the level will be. This is another area of uncertainty still to be solved. There are few elements that Terna is defining. I would focus on one aspect that I think is critical when we talk about revenue and profitability of these projects. That is the capacity and duration adjusting factors. Again, and forgive me, I'm not really willing to go into the details to make the presentation not too boring. Let's focus on the key concept. Terna is trying to set up a mechanism and to create a level playing field where all projects with different duration can compete. The main outcome or the main finding when they run the assessment of the market is that the shorter duration probably on a per unit basis will have higher capex, higher opex, so they need to be helped in order to compete with longer duration. And so the adjusting factor is a mechanism for which, and we will see a few numbers in the next slides, where adjusting for the price it can allow the Terna to judge and to assess different duration projects on different pricing, and the different plans to compete each other. And that's why the mechanism is called rewarding for shorter duration batteries. As I was saying, the key topic is to allow also shorter duration to participate and to be able to compete. how the coefficient works. So the simple case in all the documentation pattern is the 8-hour duration. So 8-hour charging, 8-hour discharging the battery. The 8 hours are not in a row, but they are distributed over the day. Again, key priority for Terna is to balancing the support of these plants to the grid, to the system, and you can see the coefficient is 1. So if, and this is another number that comes out into the document published so far as an example. So this is not the final incentive, but 40 euros per kilowatt hour. In the case of 8 hours duration, it's applied nominal, so it's 40. If 4 hours battery plants is applying with the same, or is bidding with the same price, 40, then the coefficient adjusting for the shorter duration, it would be 0.64. So that means a 40-hour per kilowatt hour price bid from a 4-hour, it becomes 25.6. It means that bidding at the same premium is more competitive than 8 hours. So it allows the shorter duration to bid with higher prices. It's important always to remember that these are competitive bid. So until we will know the contingent capacity allocated by Terna to each auction and how much capacity is participating to the auction today, defining what will be the incentive is still a guessing exercise. There will be other adjusting factors where we still need some more details to understand how that will impact them. For example, one will be related to the area where the project is located. So probably there will be adjusting factor trying to push or to favor projects in the south of the most congested nodes and areas. And this we will have to see what the technical details will be. Here I'm moving, so to not take too much of your time, on a more market approach and what we are really seeing when we discuss with investors concrete opportunities. So at the moment, there are a few factors that can impact a lot the revenue stream of these projects under both scenario, regulated and merchant, that are difficult to guess. For sure, the cost of the technology. This is a very CapEx intensive technology, even compared to other renewable sources, is very demanding from a CapEx point of view, and there is uncertainty on the CapEx. And plus, as we were saying before, we need to see what the final incentive from the Terna auction will be and how this will impact the overall market. When we talk about CapEx, 75–80% of the total CapEx for a BESS plant is represented by the cost of the batteries. That makes the market really focus on what will happen in this market in terms of batteries and also in terms of raw material that are impacting the battery cost, in particular lithium, that is the technology that has been, at the moment, is the most efficient in the market. And this cost has been very volatile. So this is another factor that makes investors cautious, and it makes the exercise of simulating a business plan very, very difficult. In 2022, after dropping for many years, battery costs went up a lot and made a lot of investors more cautious about the outlook in future years. Below, we presented a sensitivity of a simple case study. So we took an average plant, 50 megawatt, with 8 hours duration and 14–15 years business plan. 14 years should be the period of the incentive. And you can see one important element, that just moving a little bit the CapEx number, and you see on the top part of the table the range we're assuming in terms of euro per kilowatt hours, or moving a little bit the level of the incentive, the profitability of the plant changed dramatically. I mean, for long-term investors, strategic investors that take the opportunity, the decision to invest in a project in Italy, especially if they're not domestic, for a period of 15 or more years, a change in the unlevered prospective IRR from 6 to 12 is a huge range, is a very wide range. And we are receiving every day requests to support, to try to narrow this range. And as I was saying before, the two drivers that in our view impact the most this profitability are the CapEx and the level of incentives. For sure, for those plants that will go into the auction. And today, on both aspects, it's difficult to make a final guess. Then a few considerations to conclude, and then I'm happy to take any question if you have any. We are experiencing a very high level of interest. So we have been active in the market with several deals in the last 12-18 months. We are interacting with a very high number of strategic long-term investors, both domestic and international. The interest is very high. Very often in the calls meeting we have, Italy is always referred as the second most attractive or let's say potential growth market in Europe after UK. There is a clear awareness of many investors that have been already active investing in other jurisdictions, from US to UK to Ireland, the Nordics, that Italy is in big need of storage because there are no real other alternatives to create a baseload system when the solar capacity increases. The issues we are finding when we discuss concrete deals is that it's very difficult today to define a precise business model for the reason I was saying before. And what we're seeing is a selective approach by investors. So one of the ways to be part of the market and not stay on the side and just wait is to be selective and to try to diversify the risk. So very often the approach is let's try to diversify and having a portfolio that is balanced between north and south, as we don't know exactly what will happen in these two areas where the south is expected to be more impacted or ruled by the incentive mechanism launched by Terna. Diversification in terms of merchant versus regulated business model. There is a very high focus on clear proximity to the critical node of the grid. So that's an analysis that investors are really doing in details with experts, with internal experts, with the help of external market advisor, and elements that can limit the CapEx. For example, short distance from the connection, and also flexible technical solution. Very often we see a big favor for a pipeline where there is the opportunity to eventually switch from the auction to the merchant or vice versa. It will be very important for the market to see what will happen in the next 12 months in terms of the effectiveness of the Terna mechanism, to what extent it will be applied, what capacity it will be assigned the tariff and what the tariff will be, and also to see if these applied in a very large scale will impact also those projects that are opting for a merchant business model. The two areas where the key focus is at the moment is CapEx. There are expectations in the market that CapEx should go down significantly in the next 2-3 years, when a lot of the projects will come in operation. But at the moment it's still a market guessing, and that it will be a factor that will impact a lot the profitability of the plant that come into operation. At the moment, the consequence of all this uncertainty is a limit down of the valuation of the projects at the ready-to-build status. Consider that today, when we were talking about the big growth, there are 74 gigawatts of battery projects applying for a connection to Terna. Of these, 90% are still at an early stage of the development. So only 10% have been assigned a final connection or are under evaluation by Terna for the final connection. So that means, and I will conclude here, that the market needs to go to the next phase and be more constructive. I'm talking about the long-term investor, about the valuation, about really closing large size deals to see evidence of projects being authorized and get into the construction phase, evidence of what the capex level will be and evidence of how the incentive will be. The good news is that we think that after a few years of waiting, now we are really close to that moment where this evidence will start coming to the market. And that I think we think will have a constructive and positive impact on the evolution of the market in the next few years. I will conclude here, but as said before, I'm super happy to take any question or curiosity that you can have.
Hi, Domenico. Thank you very much for such a all-encompassing presentation. You do have a lot of questions. You know, there is already 11 that have sent something through. I just wanted to check something to make sure that I have understood it correctly. You state there is 74 gigawatts worth of battery projects that have requested connection, and then you mentioned 70 later. Is this extra on top that are like in view with a view to requesting connection later?
Allora, if you were referring about the number we mentioned at the beginning, what Terna is saying that they expect 71 gigawatt hours to be the capacity, the new capacity of utility scale plant. Terna very often refer, and is correct to do so, to the gigawatt hours, so to the not the capacity but the energy stored and released. The indication we have in terms of application is in terms of gigawatts. Then, of course, how you translate that in gigawatt hours is depending on the duration of each plant. This is a huge number, but that said, these are the requests from connection. How much of these 74 gigawatt then will be authorized, it remains to be seen.
But 74 is the full amount, meaning there is no another 70 on top of those that will come through. Okay, thank you very much, Domenico. If I ask you now to remove your presentation, please, and we can go with Mauro's presentation. There is a lot of questions that have come through. If you want to take a look, and there is some that you may be able to answer by text, because we may not have enough time to answer them all. Okay. However, there are some that will be more complicated that maybe we can do a little bit later. And Mauro, I'm going to request also that you take your microphone off to make sure. And whenever you're ready. That's a lot of projects. A lot of 74 gigawatts. Oh my God. Yeah, Mauro.
Yeah. Can you see the screen?
We can. Go right ahead.
Okay. So just a quick presentation about Ingeteam. Ingeteam, as maybe you know, it's a Spanish company. Manufacturing, as I said before, power conversion unit for renewable energy sector. Here we are focused on BESS in storage application, where we have started our experience around 10 years ago with the first projects, very small projects, because at that time was not a so growing market as today. And now we develop a series of products suitable for almost, I guess, all kind of application in matter of storage. Ingeteam is not an EPC, is not a developer, is not an investor. We are just provider of technology. Technology means a power conversion unit for us. We are present in 21 countries worldwide with a workforce of more than 5,000 people. And we have long experience because the company was founded 8 years ago, and we always worked in the sector of the power conversion units. Of course, at that time, not for renewable energy, but for industrial application. But basically, it's the same concept. Here is a small picture about where we are mainly present with direct offices or manufacturing plants. As you can see here in US and Brazil and India, we have manufacturing plants, as well as Spain and Italy. So some numbers about what we are doing in battery energy storage. This presentation, unfortunately, is not so updated because today we have already installed around 5 gigawatt hour of products, and we offer, apart the commissioning on site, also the possibility of the maintenance of the plant, including the batteries, even if the batteries are not in our scope of supply. But our O&M division can maintain the complete plant until the end of the life of the plant. We have a laboratory in Spain where we can check and test all kinds of batteries of different brands or technology as well, and having the possibility to make the integration of the battery into the complete system, which is one of the key points in our scope of supply. Just a few words introducing our products. Here I'm going fast. I just want to show you our central inverter solution, which is an inverter completely suitable for outdoor application because it's a liquid-cooled inverter with IP65 protection degree. So perfect for outdoor installation and fully integrated in a complete skid, as I show you here, which maximum can house, let's say, 2 inverters with a maximum power of 7.8 megavolt ampere each single skid. Of course, it's possible to install more when the power is bigger, and so on. Provider of technology means also provider of solution, because with all our clients, which normally are developers or EPC, with our pre-sales team, which is very active in the support of the customer, we always try to work in a proactive way, let's say, suggesting also the best solution. We develop also a converter called DC-DC converter, which allows to build hybrid plants. Hybrid plants means PV plus storage. In such case is requested a DC coupling solution. We can offer both, of course, the technology AC or DC coupling solution, but the DC-DC converter has also different other advantages, which I can say increasing, for example, the number of batteries connected to the same inverter, because the battery have a limitation of number of rack which can be connected to one single inverter, which is given by the short circuit limit of the batteries. So having in the middle a DC-DC converter allows to connect more batteries to the same inverter. This actually is something which has a tremendous advantage in the application where we have 6 or 8 hours, because in such case, or you have to install a greater number of megawatt of inverter, which is not requested due to the fact of the limit of the maximum number of rack of batteries, or you have to connect more than the allowed battery to one piece inverter, which is not possible. With this system, which insulates the batteries from the inverter, we can we can connect the needed battery without exceeding the power of the PCU. This means being more competitive in our quotations. Is also very advantageous for the augmentation, because in a storage project, usually is thought for working 15, 20 years, but with the lithium battery that are mostly used today, this is not possible to have an energy for a so long period because of the degradation of the batteries. So all plants, when are developed, you must consider some augmentation of batteries, but in I don't know 8 to 10 years, which kind of batteries you can find in the market, who knows? But with this DC-DC converter in the middle, you have the advantage to have the possibility to connect any kind of batteries, even of different technology, without the need of improving the number of PCUs in the system. So it's another advantage that can be offered to our clients. This is a typical diagram of DC-DC connection, where you can see in between from the battery to the PCU, the DC-DC converter ready for DC coupling. Another good point that we can offer is the fact that we manufacture our own EMS, or power plant controller. This means to have the possibility, having our own technology, our own software, everything developed in-house, to have the possibility to comply with all grid codes worldwide, first of all, because any country require a different kind of support to the grid, and we can manage the integration of the battery into the complete system, integrating the BMS of the battery with our PCUs, and managing the charging and discharging of the batteries as requested by the TSO or DSO or whatever. Basically, we always offer this kind of solution to our clients, because as I was saying, even if we represent the smaller part of the plant in matter of investment for the developer or EPC or investor, because our part never exceed the 7, maximum 8% of the total investment for a storage plant, but we supply the core of the system. So it's very important to have the possibility of offering to our customers the integration of the battery, which is a strategic point for the good working of the plant. That almost all. We have some references. Even in Italy, we have already connected some utility scale projects. Others are under construction, always for the capacity market of Terna, apart other small projects. And I'm available for any kind of inquiry or technical question related to our scope of supply. I think that is no sense now to go more in detail or in depth about technicalities because it takes too long, and time is running, and thanks to everyone, and feel free to ask us in case you are interested in our solution, as I hope.
Okay, thank you very much, Mauro. I'm going to ask you to take the
Presentation off.
The presentation off so we can see, because there is a ton of questions and I want to get through them. We do have some time. And Domenico's being like a king answering the questions.
I'm trying my best.
No, but you're doing a great job. Okay, you're just answering one that I wanted to ask you so that everybody can hear. It's just gone. Hang on. I'll find it. I had written down the exact same question here for you, but I feel that this is explained a little bit better. Okay. It said from a profitability point of view. Well, essentially, it asks you whether you think, what is the business model outside of Maxe, whether there is any way to make it work, or what is your recommendation? Or you should go for like the tender. I mean, is there a business model outside of the tender at the moment in Italy?
Actually, when you grab control of the Q&A chat, I was just trying to answer one of these questions. No,
yeah, that's the one I was looking for, but I can't find it. I don't know what happened.
I don't know what happened, but something happened. Anyway, I will try to explain. I mean, this is a topic we are discussing basically every day with investors. The view, or let's say the base approach is that merchant-based plans should allow, of course, for higher volatility, but at the same time for higher profitability, because they should be able to grab the arbitrage opportunities in the market. Now, there are two key aspects that do not allow to give a final answer today. One, something we mentioned based also in other question I tried to answer, that in general, but most importantly in some specific areas, we will have to check when the auction is in place if these a very large number of incentivized plans impact the overall market or the market of the storage plans in that specific area. And that is something that today, not knowing what will be the contingent assigned to each area specifically, what will be the participation in the auction is difficult to guess. There are different views in the market. Someone that said that the impact will be limited, some other things that the impact from Terna will be so big that will be bringing down arbitrage opportunities for plans, and this will have a negative impact on the profitability of the merchant-based business plan. The other consideration that also we are discussing with investors is that there are not only different business plans, but there are complete two different investment approaches, because under the Terna mechanism, whoever owns the plans or build the plans basically is providing a service to Terna. It will not be involved into the management of the plant. When you go for a merchant business plan, you need to rely on the ability of your trading team to be able to grab these arbitrage opportunities. So it's not a given, and every team will be different. Every team will be able to will have a different ability to catch these opportunities. So I'm sorry that I'm not able to provide a final answer, but these are the two open questions we are discussing with investors. I was saying before, I hope in the coming months, quarters, we will have more visibility on both topics, and that should be the case.
Yeah, I found the question. I think you can probably find it in the list. It said, do you recommend the merchant business case or the regulated business case? And at the moment, the thing is, there's just too many questions, right? And many doubts in the merchant case. Okay, let's continue with the
one of the key tabs, Belen, is what impact will have the auction or the incentives based plans have on the overall market. We need to see the auction in place. And today we are just reading documents, but there are no auctions and there are no plans operating under the incentive. So it's a guessing exercise by definition.
You know, one of the questions I wanted to ask, this is one of my own, is whether Terna will be providing data sets or analyzing the transparency over the bids so that we can like properly draw benchmarks, you know, after
that's
the
what
auction.
we expect. We expect the same level for the incentive and the auction, with the same level of visibility that probably many of our colleagues on the audience today have seen for solar auction, for example, or for wind auction. That's the kind of granularity and visibility we expect. But again, let's see when these auctions take place.
Okay. You want to take a look, Domenico, and see if there is anything specific that you want to answer, because there's so many right now, 16, that I don't know whether, you know.
Some,
yeah, I mean,
I have to say, are a little bit on the technical side. That is not really my area of focus. So I don't know. I would be super happy also to take this question and reply later on.
Of course, yeah.
We
will send them to you.
If you send to me, and I will. I'm happy to share the answer later today and share it with you, and you can share with the people that were attending the webinar today, because it requires to me a little bit of reading carefully and not just jumping question to another to try to answer quickly, but I'm happy to do it.
There is some questions here. For example, Shimiao asks, in the capacity market scheme, the revenue on the spot market is limited by the strike price, prezzo di esercizio, sorry if I'm not reading all that well, defined by ARERA. Where does ARERA publish this price? This seems pretty specific.
The way the spot revenues will be limited is not they're limited in terms of the trading activity the plant will be doing. So there will be contracts in the market, but the mechanism cap the revenues because it says that basically, without going to the details, whatever you make on top of the incentive or on the side of the incentive, 95% of that has to be refunded or repaid back to the DSO. So you're not, as a plant, you will not capture that extra profitability, or very small portion of it.
Can I just throw you and then you can tell me? Same for you, Mauro, if you want to jump in. Will the MSD, ancillary services, binding restrictions contracted under this mechanism distort free formation of prices on the balancing mechanism? The current proposal foresees Terna to procure 80% of the storage need through Maxi.
But where are you reading? Because otherwise I cannot
it's anonymous question, but it just seemed really good. If you can be answered, 1126.
Actually, I don't understand very well the question, but
me neither, I have to say. Sorry for that.
Sorry.
Never mind. Okay, we'll move on then. We'll just leave it. Regarding the 2 to 4 duration storage, what are secure revenue requirements for banks in order to provide financing? In particular, if regulated revenue accounts for a portion of the expected revenues, while the majority will still be at risk, what kind of long-term offtake agreements can be achieved with third parties, for example, utilities and traders, in order to have a better hedge and secure financing? Is Luca Signora, also 1126.
Mauro, do you want me to go ahead?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so here we are touching a delicate matter, because this is also from discussion with banks and debt provider in general. Of course, all of them are very interested in the market, not only equity investors. All of them are trying to understand what will be the business model, how financing product will be allowed in Italy. As we said, is new because, as I said before, there is a huge amount of project applying for authorization, but the authorized project, operating project, very little. So there is evidence of real deals, financing deals done now. The discussion will be ongoing, as we are seeing in Italy, also for other technologies, banks financing and the level of leverage is really linked to the visibility on the revenue side. So to achieve a high level of leverage, you need to provide to the bank a project that has high visibility, so a big portion of the revenue has to be contractualized or incentivized. Now, if you don't get the incentives because you are on short duration, yes, you can go for long-term contracts. There will be, we think, an opportunity in the market to secure long-term contracts and so to provide a more suitable product for banks. But the question mark is, in doing so, how much of the profitability of the plants you are leaving on the table, because to secure those long-term contracts, you will have to give out or give up part of the margins, and that's something that we are working on. We don't have the numbers there. In general, I would expect for the banking sector or the debt provider to be really focused in the beginning as the technology starts and all the market get more confidence and familiarity with the project, to be focused on the incentivized product and less so on the merchant based.
Okay, so I'm going to go for the next one. Okay, and then we have 4 minutes. So Mauro, if you want to find the question that you'd like to answer, and Domenico the same, let me know. But the next says the Haralambos Panagolopoulos, I'm sorry for butchering your name. What is the typical revenue in euros megawatt year for a battery energy storage system of 50 megawatts, 2 hour, that is allowed to participate in the sport, energy and balancing and capacity markets in Italy? So I don't know if you can answer this.
I take this one. So this is an exercise we are doing for many of the opportunities we do. You cannot define the typical revenue level in general for 2 hours. You really need to go node by node. So the exercise we do, and on this exercise we collaborate with expert on the ground of this specific topic that are market advisor. There are 3 or 4 that are very knowledgeable and very well established in Italy, and they have and they provide basically what is the correspondent of the energy price curve or capture curve for solar. But you need to go really into the details of which node the plant is. So every node, every region, but every node specifically have a different revenue profile, because is an estimation based on a lot of elaboration of not only the current capacity, renewable and storage, but also the new capacity that will be added. So it's already really here. I don't want to look or to sound difficult, but it's a really complex exercise that requires proprietary simulation models, and some market advisors are really focused on that. So answering generically for a project in Italy, it will not be meaningful, because you can see between Puglia and Toscana huge differences for the same 2 hours. Huge.
It's a good point. I mean, it's so hard, you know. You want to have like a gap, like
at least in the exercise we are doing, Belen, at least restricting by region is already a good proxy. But really to have a precise indication that at the moment remain a guess or an estimate, you really need to go node by node, even within the same region.
No, indeed. I don't think that's specific only to Italy, actually. I mean, it makes sense, right? Mauro, any question that you want to answer then? And then take a look, Domenico, in the meanwhile, and then after this we close. And I will send to you the questions, and if you can answer them, then we'll just put it in the material pack when we send it out. And what this means is I'm getting a lot of questions, so clearly there is a lot of interest. We're going to send you a link. In the link, you can watch the video again, you can download the presentations, and we'll just add an extra PDF in there with the answers, the questions and the answers. That's how we will do it.
Belen, probably if you send us the question that have not been answered yet, I'm happy to share with you later on as an answer, and happy to be shared with all the people that were on the webinar today. Super happy to do so.
Mauro?
I have seen a couple of questions specific, which I already replied. But anyway, I agree with Domenico. If you can share the question, I can reply later one by one.
No problem. And any other that you want to reply now, Domenico? One last one.
No, I was thinking now from Giovanni about the capex on the sensitivity table we show. When we show the range, these are the range was probably 190 to 250, if I remember correctly in my table. 1,000 euros per kilowatt hours is the total capex EPC plus battery cost. Then on top of that, you should have the land and connection. But if the land for storage, as you know probably better than me, is a limited impact. We don't have the extension we saw in PV plants, for example, or in wind. For the connection, if we're talking about plants that are close enough to the connection point, also there is the cost is contained and limited, and that's but that can change, and that's why when we discuss pipelines with investors, one area that is strictly analyzed and scrutinized by investors is the distance from connection. This is an element that always comes to the forefront when we discuss pipeline. Then about other from Leah about other storage option, we look at the documents from the authorities that know the topic better than us. We see two options that have been indicated for Italy. One is batteries, lithium-based, basically, because there are no other technologies really effective at the moment in the market, and the other is water pump. The water system has been already heavily or highly exploded in Italy, so we don't see that as an area of growth. So it seems, for what we know now, that the real option of the real area where Italy is expected to grow in terms of storage is batteries, lithium-based. Then let's see if there will be other technologies for batteries that will come into the market in the coming years. At the moment, that seems the option.
Yeah, I mean, it seems a bit unfair because in the case of CSP, for example, they are well proven, and they're working but I understand in the end, it's only lithium ion or reversed pump hydro, right? So that's the only two options you get, sadly. So, okay, so we've come to the end of the session. It's been really, really informative. Thank you very, very much. Thank you, Domenico, and thank you, Mauro.
Thanks to
Delighted to meet you in
everyone. Thank
person, to the both of you. And Domenico, I'm looking forward to meeting you in Rome. And Mauro, I know we won't be there, but your team will. So for the rest of you, I hope you've enjoyed. We will put all of this package together and send it to you as soon as we get the responses. There is quite a few. You have to understand that this is like very, very kind of Domenico and generous and Mauro to go through the questions and respond them. So we appreciate you guys for doing this. There's clearly a lot of interest. And hopefully we'll see you all in Rome. And I leave you there for the next webinars. There's 2 webinars coming up about the capacity market. So I think we're going to go into more detail in the next webinars about this. Without further ado, thank you and see you in the next one.